welcome. Hello, 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 hello.
Good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is my privilege to welcome you to the launch of Case for Ram, the Untold Insider Story, authored by Anirudh Sharma and Sridhar Pottaraju. Without delay, please join me in welcoming our esteemed dignitaries onto the dais. I now request Lakshman, a fifth-year law student, to escort Sri Anirudh Sharma Garu, the author of the book, onto the dais. I request Lakshman to present a Tulsi sapling to serve. I now request Indrajit, a fourth-year law student, to escort Sri Sridhar Pottaraju Garu, the author of the book, onto the dais and present the Tulsi sapling. I request Nitin, a fourth-year law student, to escort the chief guest of the function, Justice Sri N. Narasimha Reddy Garu, former Chief Justice of Patna High Court, onto the dais. I request Sridhar sir to please present the Tulsi sapling to sir. I request Chetan, a first-year law student, to escort our guest of honor, Sri L.V. Subramaniam Garu, retired IAS, former Chief Secretary, Government of AP, onto the dais. I request Anirudh sir to present the Tulsi sapling to sir. I now request Sanket, a fourth-year law student, to escort our guest of honor, Sri R. Ravikumar sir, President, Federation of Telangana Chambers of Commerce and Industry, onto the dais. I request Anirudh sir to please present the Tulsi sapling to sir. Thank you, sirs, for your presence today. To mark the auspicious beginning of this evening, I call Ms. B. Mrunalini to lead the prayer song and request the audience to be seated.
महागणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि महागणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि महागणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि वसिष्ठवामदेवादिवन्दित महागणपतिम् महादेवसुतं गुरुगुहनुतं मारकोटि प्रकाशं शान्तं वसिष्ठवामदेवादिवन्दितमहागणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि महागणपतिम्. Thank you.
Respected Chief Guest, Honorable Justice L. Narasimha Reddy Garu, esteemed guests of honor, Sri L.V. Subramaniam Garu and Sri R. Ravikumar Garu, and distinguished authors Anirudh Sharma sir and Sridhar Pottaraju sir, eminent members of the Federation of Telangana Chambers of Commerce and Industries, ladies and gentlemen, namaskaram and a very warm welcome to all of you. It is both an honor and a moment of reflection as we gather today to launch a work that chronicles one of the most significant legal journeys in independent India. The Case for Ram, Untold Insider Stories of the Legal Battle for Ram Janmabhoomi in the Supreme Court. This book is not merely a narrative. It is a testament to constitutional discourse, judicial perseverance, and the layered complexities of faith, history, and law. Through the lens of those who witnessed and shaped the proceedings, the authors offer us a rare glimpse into the courtroom drama, strategic deliberations, and the human convictions that defined this landmark case. We are privileged to host this event at the Surana Auditorium under the aegis of FTCCI, a space that has long supported intellectual and civic engagement. The presence of our chief guest, Honorable Justice L. Narasimha Reddy Garu, and our distinguished guests of honor, Sri L.V. Subramaniam Sir, Sri R. Ravikumar Sir, adds immense depth and dignity to this occasion. As we turn the pages of this book, we are reminded that justice is not just a verdict, it is a process, a dialogue, and a legacy. May this evening inspire thoughtful conversation, scholarly inquiry, and a deeper appreciation of the legal institutions that uphold our democracy. I welcome you all to unveil this important contribution to India's legal and cultural literature. Without any further delay, I take the privilege to introduce the authors of the book. Anirudh Sharma Sir is an advocate on record, practicing before the Supreme Court of India as well as various high courts and tribunals since 2005. Sir holds a BA from Ramjas College and a law degree from the Campus Law Center, University of Delhi. He was formerly part of the chambers of Sri K. Parasiran and has had a 20-year-long association with him. Beyond his legal practice, Anirudh Sir is deeply passionate about India's civilizational heritage and the perseverance of its cultural legacy. He also writes columns in various newspapers. Welcome, sir. Sridhar Pottaraju Sir is a distinguished legal professional, nearly 3 decades of experience practicing in the Supreme Court and various high courts across India. He was designated as a senior advocate by the Supreme Court in January 2024. Sir has completed his BCom honors from Vasavi College, Osmania University, and a law degree from the Campus Law Center, University of Delhi in the year 1997. Served as advocate on record in the Supreme Court for over 13 years and empaneled as arguing counsel Group A by the Government of India. Sir specializes in constitutional and commercial law, arbitration and infrastructure, environmental and tax law, and intellectual property and mining law. Sir has played a vital role in the legal team led by Sri K. Parasiran in the Ram Janmabhoomi case representing Sri Ram Lalla Virajman. His expertise was instrumental in organizing voluminous records and integrating ancient Indian texts into legal documents. Author of Maxims from Mahabharata, a work that bridges classical wisdom with contemporary legal principles, founder of VadaPratibada.in, a digital archive making landmark case records accessible to scholars and the public. Sridhar Pottaraju Sir is a passionate advocate for integrating India's ancient knowledge system into modern jurisprudence. Sir frequently speaks on the intersection of law and Sanatan Dharma, emphasizing Dharma as the ethical foundation of India's civilizational identity. I also take the privilege to welcome Justice Hanuman Garu, Andhra Pradesh High Court, is today who is present in today's function. Thank you, sir, and welcome you. Let us now turn our attention to the minds behind this compelling work. Case for Ram is a bold narrative that blends insight, history, and perspective. Please welcome the author, Anirudh Sharma sir, to share a few words about their journey in crafting this book. So please welcome.
Namaskar everyone. If I talk about a 92-year-old man with weak knees, glaucoma in his eyes, with hearing aids, and walking with a stick, getting up while running high temperature, to work at 4 a.m. in the morning and appears in the court at 10 a.m., this story comes like as if it is from a film or a soap opera. But that is the reality of Mr. Parasaran, and that is how I can introduce Mr. Parasaran to you. At 92, with non-functional certain parts of the body, but with a very, very functional and agile mind, this is how Sir did the case. Another thing that happened importantly in 2019, when the judgment started, was a movie called Mission Mangal was launched, which explained cryogenic technology to the country. It was released in August 2019 when the case hearing started. When the case hearing ended and the judgment finally came, by that time Mission Mangal was an all India hit. And we had a judgment also. Two things got fused in November 2019, between August 2019 and November 2019, that the country came to know of its past heritage, and the country also was explained in simple terms about its scientific development. That is how Mr. Parasan approached the case. There was faith, there was submission to God, but also he stuck to law, keeping aside the bhakta in him. And Mangal is also in North India a very pious term, and Tulsi Ramayan also writes, Tulsi Das in Tulsi Ramayan, Mangal Bhavana Mangal Hari, Dravahu Dasarath Achur Bihari. And 2019 fused Mangal and Ram together in a scientific manner and also with faith. But what is important is the courtroom drama that actually came about. Because in the courtroom drama that happened, and as we also watched the movie, we realized that if cryogenic technology can be explained to the country, so can the case of Ram be also told to the country. And that was the motivation. But what is important is that the country was not told earlier what happened in 1870s, what happened in 1885. This is all simple, plain and simple history. Like we write and read about the kings, like we write and read about the World War I history, World War II history, but we are never told what was decided in 1870s, 1885 about our own faith or about India's religious challenges or social challenges and historical existence of certain facts. Somehow those facts were suppressed. The good part about this case is that those facts came to fore. So what happened in 1800s throws a lot of light about how India lived, it practiced its faith, who wanted which part of the property for which purpose, whether it was just a matter of having this particular property as a matter of pride or actually using that property for finding your own God, for your own spiritual solace. So this case is very interesting because for the first time Mr. C.S. Vaidyanathan and Ms. Meenakshi Arora from the other side, in a civil case, maybe in criminal case you have evidence below the earth, but in a civil case, who owns the property? You look to people who are alive and evidence who owns the property to decide that issue. You generally look for people alive and what the people alive are saying and what is the evidence present above the earth. This was a case where evidence was being dug from below the earth to decide who owns the property. This was also a case where you were trying to find out what people who are no longer on the earth, what people who are no longer on the earth said about this particular spot of land. But thankfully, those who were left were never called back to the court. So there was evidence below the earth. There was evidence above the earth. There were evidences of people who just traveled through India who did not follow any of the dominant faiths present in India. And there was evidence of those people who followed contrasting faiths in India. There was evidence of people who were opposing our case. There was evidence of people who were supporting our case. Whether those evidence merged together to give a picture of truth, of course, no one can actually get live witnesses to prove whether Babar actually came in 1528, because none of them, those people are still there. And it will be very dangerous to call them as well. So, while avoiding the danger of calling those people who actually demolished the structure, or as it was sought to be proved that the structure was demolished, we had to delve into those aspects, and there was no better mind to lead us into all those areas without calling the spirits than Mr. Parasaran. So, apart from that, such work where the documents goes into thousands of pages or can even touch, six-figure point, such work cannot be done by a single person. Hence, this was a collaboration. Even to refer to a fact and cross-check a fact, you have to find documents, and finding that documents will take 1 hour. So it was a humongous exercise in which Mr. Sridhar Pottaraju was thoroughly involved, and so was Pranati Pottaraju, our designer for the cover. It has been done by Pranati substantially, and important aspect of the case was that there was no dispute about the belief in Lord Ram or the fact that Lord Ram was born in Ayodhya. The other side never contested. Important thing also was that, like Iqbal said, Naaz hai Ram pe Hindustan ko. There was no one who had anything not respectable to speak about Lord Ram. An important aspect that we have also covered in the book that Mr. Parasan says, Ram as a teenager was sent by his father with Guru Vashisht to kill demons. He never complained. Ram came back. He was married. He was sent to the forest. He never complained. He never had a choice. While Goddess Sita had a choice, she chose to go with Ram. So it was the Ramayana is a story of choice of a lady and compulsion of a man. That's Mr. Parasan's take. People can differ. So then Mr. Parasan also importantly points out that in his love for his wife, he was the first lover who crossed the seas, both poetically and literally. He was, because of Ram, the first engineering feat could take place, and we had the Ram Setu or the Adams Bridge as it is known. And because of Ram and his love and affection and loyalty towards Sita, Sita Mata could come back to Ayodhya. But again, Ram had no choice. He became a king. And he had to look at his wife as a queen. So when the call of the duty and the nation demanded, he had to send her to the forest. He never remarried. He always thought about Sita. And that is what his life was. So Ram never had a choice. So there was no dispute as to existence of Ram, his birth, or that Ayodhya was his birthplace. Belief with respect to Ayodhya was always affirmed, but it would be interesting, in my opinion, for you to also find out what happened in the cross-examination, what happened in the 1870s and what happened in the 1885s. Why are those very important? Because they tell us the story of our civilization, the history of our civilization, what is below the earth in our civilization, and what is also above the earth in our civilization. I would thank Mr. Sridhar Pottaraju for spending hours and hours taking out time. He's a senior designated counsel, but he yet chose to be the second author. So my thanks to Mr. Pottaraju. Thanks to all the dignitaries who have come and all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your insights on the book. And now, the moment we have all been waiting for has arrived. May I request our chief guest and guest of honor to officially unveil Case for Ram, the untold insider story.
Thank you, sirs. Good evening, everyone. We are deeply privileged to have with us Honorable Justice L. Narasimha Reddy Garu, former Chief Justice of Patna High Court. Honorable Justice L. Narasimha Reddy Garu is one of India's most respected judicial luminaries, highly regarded for his profound contributions to constitutional, civil, and administrative law. Over his illustrious legal career, he served at the Andhra Pradesh High Court before being elevated as the Chief Justice of the Patna High Court. His judgments are known for their clarity, depth, and strong commitment to justice and equity. Even after retirement, Justice Narasimha Reddy Garu continues to guide young lawyers and students by sharing his knowledge and experience and has taught leadership on matters of national importance. His presence today is an inspiration to the young legal professionals and young minds alike. We are truly privileged to have him as our chief guest for this prestigious book's release. Sir, may we invite you to share your reflections on the book and its relevance in today's context. We welcome you, sir.
Respected guests of honor, Sri L.V. Subramaniam Garu, former Chief Secretary, State of Andhra Pradesh, Sri Ravi Kumar Garu, President, Federation of Telangana Commerce of Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Sri Anirudh Sharma Garu, one of the authors of the book, Sri Sridhar Potaraj Garu, Justice Harnath Garu, distinguished advocate friends, మాతృమూర్తులు సోదరిమణులు సోదరులందరికీ కూడా నా ప్రణామాలు. I deem it a privilege to have been associated with this wonderful and great program. At the outset, I congratulate both the authors, Sri Anirudh Sharma ji and Sri Potaraj Garu, for authoring this wonderful book. Normally, in the field of law, we come across the commentaries on any particular law, whether it is Constitution, Civil Procedure Code, or Criminal Procedure Code. Authors will write books on the subjects. Or whenever some important judgments are rendered, we come across articles being written, either analyzing or sometimes criticizing. Rarely we come across the books which provide the insight into the manner of preparation and presentation of a case. And this is the one which provides an insight into that. Ayodhya, for 450 years, 7 dynasties have fought for restoration of the great temple, which was demolished by the invader Babur. Thousands of people died in the process, but the team Parasharan or team Ram, comprising of 60 members, headed by the great legal luminary Sri Parasharan and Sri Vaidyanathan, and assisted by so many eminent lawyers, they are really fortunate to have been assigned the task of getting the obstacles cleared for construction of the great temples. And on our part, all of us are fortunate to be living at a time when the great temple is built and all of us are able to see it. For this moment, lakhs of people waited, but they died without realizing their dream. That is the greatness. What amount of task, the what amount of industry, hard work has gone into the process. If you go through the book, the manner in which the preparations were done, it is not a simple case leading to a property dispute or dispute between two individuals. The history of 450 years had to be traced, and the contending parties are very, very cantankerous, very opposing, and right in our lifetime, the demolition of Babri Masjid, the aftermath of hundreds of Kursids being killed, all that has taken place. It is by no means an easy task to present a case of that magnitude. The matter went on. There were also efforts by many to obstacle the very hearing of the case, but very cleverly and very passionately, the team and other stakeholders have ensured that the hearing of the case goes on, and it went on. And what happened in the court, we have seen newspapers reporting the events, but a graphic description of the things that have gone into it, what happened to the court, and suppose a particular argument was being advanced, whether it is relating to the admissibility of the evidence provided by the Archaeological Survey of India or otherwise. So everything our learned friends have provided and made us to know as to how and in what manner they provided the basis, because court is there to hear. Unless you are able to provide the acceptable material, no court will be in a position to give a verdict in favor of the party. That way, our team has done an excellent job, and this book presents, if we go through it, the preparation, the nature of preparation will be evident for us. Therefore, we once again congratulate the team for this purpose, in this behalf. See, Parasharan Garu, he is not here now, a wonderful personality. He is virtually a God-given presentation to the legal fraternity. One has to learn so many things from him. As an advocate, I had an experience. I think I have some 10-15 minutes that time. As an advocate in 90s or 80s, I went to him to brief a case. By that time, he was an accomplished senior. When I went there, he was on a lungi and banyan. It was summer. So he avoided AC, saying that there is carbon AC consumption power and all that. He was in lungi and banyan. When I said the proposition, he was so passionate. He could have said that, all right, I'll ask my junior to prepare a brief and collect the fees and go on. But our advocate friends are there. Therefore, let me tell you in one sentence the proposition. If a land is acquired by a state and it vests in the government, whether the same land is available to be acquired under another enactment. Then he said, this proposition, I think, arose for consideration in 1970s under the Inam Chaudhary. Let me see. Then his juniors, he told the juniors were not able to pick up the decision. He himself came out about 25 to 30 reports, Supreme Court case, and ultimately he picked up the one 1976 SCC. That is the type of industry he puts, irrespective of the gravity of the case or the amount of fees that you are going. Now, let me tell you as to how he conducts himself in the court. When I was judging the AP High Court, once he appeared before me, it was a privilege to hear him, such a great person. Then he argued, and during the course of argument, I said, Mr. Parasharan, that fact I think you are not properly briefed. It seems to be otherwise. Because suppose in a date or some event, I simply said this, nothing more. I simply said that this you do not appear to have been instructed properly. This was about 11 o'clock. He waited till 1:30, lunchtime, came to my chamber. After all, I was younger than his son. Then he came to chamber. I'm sorry for making that statement. Mr. Parashan, what are you saying? I simply said this. In the course of your argument, some facts may have been not correctly stated. I did not attribute anything. But that is the type of person. And at the age of 92, he conducted the case in such a manner. It is a lesson for all the legal fraternity to see how dispassionate we should be, how committed we should be, and how dedicated we should be to the cause. That is how. Now coming to the very structure, I had opportunity to visit Ayodhya thrice. One was in early 70s. When we went there, because Ayodhya means it is a great city according to Puranas and all. When we went there, it was not even equivalent to our present Mandal headquarters or even this thing. Nothing of development over to kuch. I mean, not a single road properly tapped, no proper buildings. It's an abandoned city. The idols were put under a canvas. People were made to see it from a long distance, and the visitors were about 100. The police people guiding them were 150. So that was the type of the thing. Then we came out when we were asked to wait for 2-3 hours, not even tea was available. That was the plight of Ayodhya. Then I went to Ayodhya in 2011. Same thing, of course, slight improvement was there, but there a wonderful thing was evident there. One cow in the nearby Goshala. Every day, promptly at 4 o'clock, it comes out nearby temple. It makes this round parikrama, as though some with some with geometrically it is drawn circle. It itself has formed a circle. Every day for 1 hour, it circumscribes there, and by suppose it goes temple is this side. When it comes to this, it lifts its head like this and goes. It goes for 1 hour, then goes every day. Then the local CRPF camp people have recorded that and shown it to us. I am fortunate to see that cow and touch it with reverence and puja. I was confident that once Gomata is doing this, in a short time, the temple is going to be constructed. See the forecast, and it happened right now. And recently, when we went there, the Vaibhav of Ayodhya is partly visible. There are so many things about Ram kaisa hai, bole to Tulsidas ka Ramayan mein hai. Tulsidas, he went on describing Ram, bole to he Satyavan, Dheer hai, Veer hai, Sundar hai, Ajan bhai, pura. But he was not satisfied with that all description. Ultimately he said, how Ram looks, so Ram looks like Ram, that's all, no comparison. The Bhakta Ramadas, he wrote so many other things. He wrote a Churnika Ramayana about Ramayana in 24 articles with 24 Vishnunamas. Describing the Rama, he says, Ada Srimad Akhiland Koti Brahmanda Vanda Tando Patanda Karanda Mandala Shanto Deep Stagun and Iguna Deep Sachidananda Parataka Brahma Dashirisha Prakasham Sakala Charachara Disham. That is Rama. So that was how he described it. When we recently went to Ayodhya after this Kumbh Mela, the city was so beautifully decorated. Comparison, I have seen the abandoned city of Ayodhya and newly one. In the same Surnika Ramayana, describing the Ayodhya, Sri Ram's coming there. Sri Ramdas said, Ayodhya Nagara Sri Sita Ramachandra Maha Samrajya Pattabhishek Mahotsav Digantar Digantar Vishwata Hara Hira Karpura Paya Para Vara Parda Vani Kunjen the Chandana Suryani Sharram Budhali Darra Mahuli Shatadhara Dhavali Shubhiki Chatantar Panduri Bhur Sabha Vibhraja Mananikul Bhune Kesastandram to Vedra. That is the Ayodhya. So in that form, it is partly there. In the full form, it will be there very shortly. And my friend was also saying about Ram and Sita. I will refer to 2-3 instances about to not that you don't know about it, but to acquaint ourselves, to inform ourselves about certain characteristics. When Ram was going into Ayodhya, the Aranya, After crossing Ganga, there as a measure of present day protocol, Vanadevata came and asked Lord Rama, what can I do? He was in the apparel going to forest and all that. Rama is said to ask him, I came by walk. You remove all the thorns from the way in which I have come. Then she said, you have already come. What is the use? He said, my brother Bharata will come searching for me. The thorn should not cause him harm. Then she said, then Vanadevata said, is he so tender? The Ram's answer was, his feet is like a Vajra Sankalpa. Even Indra's armory will not do anything to his. He is so strong a person. Nothing will harm him. But if some small thorn touches him, he will feel, my brother may have felt this, therefore he should not undergo the pain. That is my see the affection towards the brother. That is Ram. And one more small instance. The war is over with Ravan. Ram sends Lakshman to Ravan in his last hours. Then Lakshman knows, sir, I am Ram's brother Lakshman. Any message for me? Ravana says, see, Mr. Lakshman, I have won the entire universe, 3 more local Jains. There is nothing I don't know. I am the most learned person, Vedas, everything. The difficulty was, I was aware of about my knowledge. I was arrogant about my knowledge, whereas Ram was having knowledge about arrogance. हिंदी में చెప్పాలంటే मुझे तो मेरा ज्ञान का अहंकार था, लेकिन राम को अहंकार का ज्ञान था. वही फर्क है. That is the thing. Then Mandodari comes there. Mandodari, after the war is over, one of the greatest Pativratas, she entertained out, my husband who has conquered the entire world, how is that he was defeated by an ordinary person who just assisted by a group of monkeys? Then out of curiosity, though in that grief, she comes to the battlefield. Ram was sitting on a small stone. It was evening. He was not happy that he has killed Ravana or caused so much injury. He was feeling, what an unfortunate thing has happened in my hand. It could have been avoided. Then Mandodari, he was seeing this side. From behind, Mandodari was coming. Rama sees a shade touching his body and going ahead. Simply he moves away. He knew that it was a shade of a woman and he moved away. That is, he did not permit even a shade of a woman to touch his body. Then he knew that Mandodari sees that and just goes back saying that here is a person who did not even permit his body to be touched by the shade of a woman, whereas my husband in greed went on harassing the woman of her. That's the difference. That is the understood. Now, how most of us feel that Sita was just a humble follower of Rama and she went on going. Justice Allad Kuppuswamy, one of our greatest and most revered judges, he wrote a small book on Ramayana. In that book, there is a small episode. Rama was going in the forest, then the rishis were complaining, sir, we are performing the sacrifices, these demons are causing obstruction or they are destroying. Then Rama swings into action, kills them. He went on killing thousands of Rakshasas. Then one day Sita tells him, gentlemen, don't feel like a hero and go on killing everybody. And in the process, the saintly nature, the sattvic nature in you is likely to disappear. And she gives an example. One rishi was doing penance, wonderful penance, very powerful. Devatas were very much afraid. This man is going to take on us with his powers and all. So Indra, as we know, he has got many tactics of disturbing the penance of anyone. So they thought a tactic. He was doing penance, and one day they planned, according to plan, one person went with a sword, and he simply kept the sword by the side of money and said that, sir, I will go and get some water. Please take care of this sword. He did not come back. This Rishi was doing penance perfectly. He started thinking, what about this sword? Whose it is? That man is not coming. So his attention is diverted. Then, when he did not come at all, thereafter he took the sword and he started looking at it. Then he started wielding it. People who are hitherto coming and praying for him were afraid of seeing this fellow, this person holding this sword. Then when they were, a person who was hitherto worshipping him was going away, this man became wild and he went on just chasing him. So that is how the sattvic character in you will fade away if you go on killing the persons. That was the guidance given by Sita Devi to Rama. So this is the greatest. We are, our whole country, whole community is indeed blessed to be having such a great episode or our Rama avatar, whatever, by a great epic to guide. Even smallest, one small part of it will be sufficient to shape our lives. So we are all really fortunate to be living at a time when Lord Ram has come to Ayodhya in the historical way, and the way was paved by our team, Ram, and we are really happy to be part of this program in which both the learned advocates who have described the manner in which the case was presented before the court, which in turn paved the way for construction of a great temple, which is one of the greatest wonders in the world. We are indeed fortunate to be living at a time of this nature. I thank all of you for hearing me to whatever I have said, some relevant or irrelevant. Namaskar.
Behind landmark cases are illustrious minds and sometimes divine intervention. The case for Ram is just that. Sir, your speech was definitely relevant. Thank you so much for your insights. It is now my honor to introduce Sri L.V. Subramaniam Garu, a retired Indian Administrative Service Officer of the 1983 batch and former Chief Secretary of Andhra Pradesh. Sir assumed charge as the Chief Secretary in April 2019 and retired in April 2020 after a distinguished career. Earlier, Sir served as the Executive Office of the Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanams, where his dedication and collaborative approach were widely appreciated. Today, we are privileged to have him with us, Sir, to grace this book launch with his presence and share his wisdom with us. We welcome you, sir.
The chief guest of today's function and my well-wisher, Justice L. Narasimha Reddy Garu, my good friend, Mr. Ravi Kumar, President of the Federation, the co-authors, Anirudh and Sri Sridhar, Justice Harnath Reddy Garu, senior members of Telangana and AP Bar, eminent citizens, ladies and gentlemen. At the very outset, let me express my sincere thanks to Mr. Sridhar especially for getting me involved in today's book release. Of course, I don't have to again go back into Sri Ramayana because it's very, very tempting. I wanted to raise certain issues more as a generalist and not go into the legal issues also. Because by the time I had joined the service, the executive and judiciary were separated. If I had belonged to earlier batches, maybe I could have spoken about that. So, for the fear of crossing my limits, I'm only sticking to looking at the personality of Sri Parasaran, because it's quite possible that several of us have heard about him. We all have great respect for him. We all wish to have a selfie with him. But many a times it stops there, that we admire him, but we may not know much about him. So I thought I'll shed some light on that going from the book. We find it extremely interesting that Sri Parasaran, much before he moved to the Supreme Court, while he was practicing along with his father, who was again a leading advocate in Srirangam, Sri Keshava Iyengar, he had some differences of opinion with his father, and therefore, from a state of, I won't say opulence, but from a state of satisfactory living, he moved into a car shed and started from scratch. But he didn't give up on his morals, and it so happened that one of the archakas of a temple gives him a wise counsel, saying that if you were to follow Sri Rama and read Sri Ramayana, then the lines in your palm, they will get altered. So that is when it seems Sri Parasaran took to Sri Ramayana with an extraordinary sense of dedication. And soon after that, he moved away to Supreme Court when he was barely 31 or so and started his practice. Now, we also hear some of his own statements in the book. Very, very beautifully, both of them have brought out the personality of Sri Parasaran. See, as a retired person today, spending my bonus years, I think this nation wants to look at models of those people who have gone through thick and thin with a kind of a philosophy and not sheer opportunism which comes when there is bright sunlight. Sri Parasaran was honored by all the political parties which came into office in Centre. All the parties wanted him. So he went beyond the political spectrum to be given positions of office. Please recollect that at one point of time, as Attorney General, he was even considered to be elevated as a Chief Justice. It is all there in the book. So a person of that eminence, how carefully he chiseled his path, he evolved a kind of a personal philosophy. No doubt he wanted to be a kind of a picture of excellence, but the kind of hard work he put for that, and then he didn't go after opportunities. Please recall that when there was that case of bulldozing the Indian Express buildings, he very clearly told the government of the day, I don't find a case for me to go to the court. So if you don't like my counsel, I am prepared to step down. But he was continued. So the value system that he adhered to was constantly on a display, not because
He was a verbose about that. He displayed it in his conduct. He displayed it in his behavior in the courtroom. And for all this, he always goes back with tremendous gratitude to his father who taught him these principles in his early formative years. Now he has also said, and I am quoting him, Ram has defined and changed my life. My last wish is to see a temple come up at this birthplace. Whatever must be done, only Ram will do. Any other lawyer or I will just be a medium of his wishes, a nimitta matra of Lord Ram's plans. Now, in the court proceedings and all that, which is very nicely brought out, I'm sure students of law must be made to read this book. And those of them who have understood this book, actually their admission must be continued. Otherwise, they should be said, go back, read once again, come back. Because they'll have good foundations of what kind of values must they adopt in the early days when they're joining. When Sri Rajiv Dhawan, who was again fighting the battle from the other end, who was the pace bowler of the other team, Sri Parashuram showed extraordinary, exemplary grace and respect to him, that it's reported that one of the days when the sessions was over, he wanted to say bye to him, so he waits for him to come at the parking place for some time, standing for him, and then he sort of bids goodbye to him. That gentleman, he complains in the court saying that what is this, every day you're having a hearing. This is becoming very, very difficult. And then what did Mr. Parashuran say? This is what he said, I'm quoting him again. My last wish before I die is to finish the case. Look at the kind of commitment a person has at that age. Today, people like me, just as we hang up our boots in government service, we think we have done everything. But look at this gentleman who spearheaded various legal battles in various courts, whether it is in the High Court or in the Supreme Court, always took every case with equal amount of seriousness, a kind of a commitment which is perhaps like a textbook for all of us in this society. So such people, and then I must also mention with so many ladies here who have brought color to the gathering, he says, it was God, luck, law, and wife. He attributes his success to all of them, and he also says that how law was his first love. And he regrets, in a sense, that I didn't spend much time with my wife. I was all the time busy with my career, with my cases. Of course, there are very nice anecdotes which they brought out in the book to show how his wife was a person of great accomplishment, the way she took care of the entire family, the juniors, how she would feast them, and things like that. So, Sri Parashuram gave a great amount of respect to her. Now I come to my bit of a conclusion about this in saying that why should we look at Sri Parashuram as a hero of the recent times in the country? Undoubtedly, he is a hero, because millions and millions of people have always aspired to see the Ram temple there. Some people did not know how to go about, and many people knew how to go about, but they were afraid to put their arguments in the courts. And several times in the courts also, the circumstances didn't help us. But why did Sri Parashuram become the hero? I think we should go back again, if you permit me, to understand how Lord Ram always stood for dharma. So, my Guruji Sadhguru Shivanandamurti Garu always used to tell us why Ramadas was imprisoned. Ramadas also built a nice temple, all that, but he said that Lord Ram was not happy with Kanchala Gopanna because he built it with the resources of the exchequer. So that's not the path of Dharma. Now here is an advocate, a senior counsel, living the life of Dharma, following that path assiduously, becoming a shining example, but always shy of getting before the media. He never wanted the glare of the media. He didn't attend any felicitation functions in the public place. So he believed in doing his dharma or his swadharma in the most efficient manner. So that is where the essence of Sri Ramayana lies, that someone who adheres to the path of dharma, someone who expands on that may also get rewarded. But more critical is someone who followed that path. Now here is Sri Parasaran, because he adhered to that kind of a dharmic way of living, as they pointed out, simplistic way of looking at the truth. And I also had the privilege of interacting with him in my TTD days when we sought an opinion from him, how quickly he would understand the issue and with so much of clarity that he would present his views. I really wish that this nation recognizes the services of such an eminent individual, and all of you will be very happy that the Sanatana Dharma Charitable Trust, which is the trust established by my Guruji, Sadhguru Shivanandamurti Garu, we gave Sri Parasaran the Eminent Citizen Award in 2020, and this function was held in Chennai, in the Raj Bhavan, and the governor was there to give him that award, and all of us were simply overjoyed. So I sincerely pray that the nation recognizes such individuals who have shown a shining example to posterity, to the contemporary world, of a value system which is extremely professional. It is not in any sense violative of the preamble which adorns the principles of secularism. He showed how human conduct must be informed with a kind of an ethics which is useful and helpful to build a nation. So I'm sure this book will reach all the places, inspire many more promising youngsters to pursue a career of truth. Our national emblem also says Satyameva Jayate. So I'm sure this book will help so many people, so many youngsters especially, to pursue this path. So I congratulate both the authors who are here today, Anirudh and my good friend. Both of them have done a beautiful way. Of course, I could not have the chance to complete it. Sridhar has given me the copy now. I'm sure I'll run through it quickly. I compliment both of them for the beautiful work they have done, which will be certainly a record for this century to rejoice. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. That was quite a speech. Now, I take the opportunity to invite Sri R. Ravi Kumar Garu, the President of Federation of Telangana Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Sri R. Ravi Kumar Garu is an accomplished industrial leader who currently heads FTCCI, one of the nation's oldest and most influential industry organization. With a strong commitment to promoting entrepreneurship, innovation, and economic development, he has been instrumental in strengthening the business ecosystem and industry-government collaboration in Telangana. Under his leadership, FTCCI continues to support emerging sectors, empower MSMEs, and facilitate job creating opportunities that contribute to regional progress. His dedication to industry led societal growth has earned him administration among business circles. We are delighted to welcome him as a guest of honor for this special event. We welcome you, sir.
Good evening to one and all, and distinguished guests on the stage, Narasimha Reddy Garu. And he always say I'm his good friend, but he's my well-wisher, then friend, L.V. Subramaniam Garu. And the authors who are sitting here, Sridhar Garu and Arvind Sharma ji. Apart from this FTCCI, I also run an industry since 35 years called Zeta Tech Technologies Private Limited. We are into manufacturing navigation components for missiles and exclusive defense one. And we did play a major role in the recent war also. The gimbals which were used, which used to utilize the drones were supplied from Hyderabad. So we are one of them. And when I was asked to be part of this event, in fact, I should acknowledge my senior and my good friend, I can call him good friend, Srinivas Ayadevaraji, who called me up and said, Ramna, his good friend, is coming to you and just accept this and be part. So FTCCI is proud, and I acknowledge my past president and my good friend who ensured that FTCCI becomes a part of this wonderful event, because it's pride to be part of such events. And thank you, Ramana. Thank you for choosing FTCCI, for being here. And secondly, when the book was, the name was told to me, I had goosebumps and I was so happy because 6 months I played a role, a small role in this, because I am also associated with Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, the Art of Living Foundation, since 28 years. I'm one of the core team. I did travel abroad and did so many programs. I mean, so many places. Like I started these events in Israel, Palestine, so many things I did. So it so happened that Guruji was part of the group for 6 months to give their views. And incidentally, I became a part because he was in Hyderabad and we did meet a lot of leaders from different communities, convincing them. And I was with him. I knew what was happening. And unfortunately or fortunately, he made a statement saying that if this was not given, the land was not given to the Ram group, people, then there will be chaos. And he mentioned in such a manner that it will be like civil war or something. And suddenly there were, this happened around 8 o'clock in the evening, and next morning there were half a dozen cases filed in Hyderabad, and I played a major role in stopping them, and still there's one case pending or something, so we had to talk to DGP and things like that. So I was very happy when I came to know this. And after listening to the eminent people, and I came to, and since the war was, I mean, literally I call this as a war from, the case was on from 1949 to 2019. It's almost 70 years. So in this war, I always feel that there are 4 types of communication. I'm going on a different side, like Subramaniam Garu was sharing. The first communication I always say is head to head. When people talk from the head, intellect, and somebody is receiving from the head, the result is zero. You end up with egos and you don't get anything. Probably this happened in 1949 onwards to a certain extent. Later on, it so happened that the second type of communication comes in. It's called head to heart. Somebody is talking from the head, intellect, to get some selfish interest out of it. And the other person is listening from the heart and he is being manipulated. The result is not there. So another 15, 20 years is lost in that. The third type of communication started wherein the people who belong to the Ram group started talking from the heart and others were listening from the head. And then they were pouring it from the heart, and the other side people were listening from the head. Nothing happened. And then lastly, after you came to 2013 or 14 or 15, the last 4 years, the final communication, which is the only one which prevails at the end of it in life, is called heart to heart. And that happened in 2014 and 15, and it culminated in 2019, wherein when everybody started talking from the heart, both the groups, and then the others were also listening from the heart, and then we found the result. So this is what I felt. And secondly, when we are talking about the authors here sitting, and the person who fought in the court with the team, 92-year-old gentleman, and this happens when bhakti flows from within. There's something which is called consciousness which gets into it. And that's what you have seen with the advocate, 92-year-old man who was handling it. Like we all talk about people which quoting some stories. We all know about Shabari, the one who believed in Rama. And most of us, one of the versions of Shabari Malai which people talk of is, Shabari was always, entire life of her, she was only saying Rama, 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 Rama. And her bhakti was so strong, one day Rama came in the physical form in front of her and asked for a boon. Because your bhakti is so strong, I would like to give you a boon. And you know what she said? Who the hell gave you permission to come out from my heart and stand in front of me in the physical form? Who are you to ask me? And who are you to give me anything because you're already inside me? You better get back. And that was the form of our 92-year-old advocate, and that's why we won the case. And that's what people have shared in the book. And the similar bhakti you have seen in our both the writers who are sitting here, and that's how this book has also come into this form. Thank you, and I will not take much time, and I'm so happy that I'm part of this group. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. As we draw this memorable evening to a close, I invite the author, Sridhar Potharaju sir, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Sri Gurubhyo Nama. Dignitaries on the dais and esteemed guests, it's a great privilege and pleasure to propose the vote of thanks today evening. Before I go into the vote of thanks, let me just read an extract that we have in the first chapter of the book. It's a quote from the Allahabad High Court judgment. I quote, "Here is a small piece of land, 1500 square yards, where angels fear to tread. It is full of innumerable landmines. We are required to clear it. Some very sane elements advised us not to attempt that. We do not propose to rush in like fools, lest we are blown. However, we have to take a risk. It is said that the greatest risk in life is not daring to take the risk when the occasion for the same arises. Herein follows the judgment the entire country is waiting for with bated breath." This is Justice S.U. Khan in his opening remark of the judgment on 21st September. This is in 2010. This is the opening paragraph of the judgment of the Allahabad High Court, which was carried in appeal to the Supreme Court by all three parties. In this book, we try to present the three contesting parties who are there before the courts, seriously contesting the right over this premises of 1500 square yards. This premises is what kept a lot of people in angst for centuries. This is a place where people of faith on either side, as rightly pointed by Sri Ravi Garu, were truthful from their heart. They spoke from their heart when they had to give an affidavit. They spoke from their heart when they gave evidence. And they said that this is the place where for centuries the Hindus believe Ram was born and they've been worshipping. So that is the heart-to-heart communication which actually prevailed eventually. I mean, it's very nice of him to have referred to the efforts made by the mediators appointed by the Supreme Court, headed by Justice Khalifullah, Sri Ravi Shankar and Sri Panchu. They made sincere efforts. Hearings were held in Ayodhya. Then there were some sittings in Delhi as well, and had the privilege of being part of some of those mediation meetings. Unfortunately, it did not fructify. Ironically, I think our land has this unfortunate or of repeating certain things which are in our memory. We remember in Ayodhya case, there were several proposals which are going on, and the court said that will not be discussed in the course of mediation. Similarly, several proposals went on for some kind of an amicable settlement, unfortunately didn't materialize. So this led to the eventual adjudication of the dispute before the Court of Law in Appeal. A dispute which lasted 7 decades, and it took the efforts of brave members of our judiciary who actually cleared the landmines for the country, and this book pays tribute to the judiciary of this country. It is very unfortunate that the judiciary is not acknowledged for the contribution it's making in ensuring that we have a harmonious society, a conflict-free society, a society where justice is adjudicated in a manner which is consistently known to the people. There could be aberrations. We are all human. We are not gods. And therefore, the systems do fail at times. But largely, if you look at the society around you, justice prevails, and the judges, who are actually the pallbearers of justice, are actually, unfortunately, not really acknowledged for their efforts. I, as a counsel in the matter, am witness to the efforts put in by the judges at every stage. I mean, just imagine, you are required to go through a few thousands of pages, and to wit, you are required to go through about 30,000 pages, understand the content, understand the context, and appreciate the rival interpretations given to the same 30,000 documents. So one set of people are arguing to interpret and reach a particular conclusion on one end, and the other set of people are interpreting the very same documents to reach a divergent view. And there was a third element again which was invisible and not formally a party. That was the role played by certain people who are atheists, an ideology which doesn't believe in God at all, which believes that religion is an opium of masses. But what business do they have in this battle of faith? It's very interesting the role they played, and you'll get to read about it in this book. We tried to present the facts as we saw it and referred and footnoted them from the records which are available in the court. We footnoted them with the articles published in various contemporaneous legal and news media. It is a book which seeks to present the entire happenings in the Supreme Court. We chose to restrict ourselves to what we witnessed, what happened in Supreme Court. Anirudh and me had the great privilege of being the handmaids of Sri Parasran Garu. So we were deputed to the task of attending to his research fully and attending to getting the compilations of all documents, all his records, and also to ensure at his age, the frail body, he reaches the court safe in the crowded corridors of Supreme Court. Most of you may not have visited the Supreme Court corridors, but if anyone has seen it, they would understand the difficulty of actually traversing through the Supreme Court corridors for a 92-year-old. So we virtually were playing bouncers there to protect him. And then Anirudh is not that strong now as he looks, because he checked out all variants of COVID personally and then gave his heart, soul and lungs to the virus while working on this book. And I think Ram wanted him to complete this task and then gave him the resilience and strength. I mean, seriously, kudos to Anirudh. This was a book which seeks to connect from heart to heart, as Ravi Garu has mentioned. I need to thank L. Narasimha Reddy Garu, because we were always wondering, when we talk about the case for Ram, it is the legalese that we will be talking about. He's filled the vacuum by talking about Ram himself. But normally what would happen in Telugu, if I can use it in an informal way, people when they digress while speaking of Ramayana, you'll say that Ramayana lo Pidikal Veta. But fortunately for us, this may not be as bad as Pidikal Veta, our book, but he's brought in Ram into the context of this meeting and then blessed the meeting. Thank you, sir. Sri Subramanian Garu has actually brought out the anecdotes that we shared. Some of them
could be spoilers, but I felt that these are the things which people need to know in the times that we live in, the Kali Yuga that we live in. I've grown up. My teacher is here, Kusma teacher. So grateful. She's come. She's taken time. Thank you, ma'am. I always owe it to you. The P's and Q's you taught me in school. Grateful.
శ్రీధర్ గారు రాముని ఎందుకు ఇస్తారంటే మీరు పాత్రధారులు, రాముడు సూత్రధారి.
Thank you very much. Here is a case which actually affected every one of us. Whether we believed in God, we believed in Ram, we believed in Ayodhya or not. This is a case which actually turned the way how I looked at life and the entire world around me. Prior to 2017, for me, this was some kind of a political matter, honestly, pre-2017, because I did not know much about this issue at all. And I was quite happy not knowing much about anything which doesn't hit my bank or my brief. I'm pretty focused in that sense. But once I got into this brief, thanks to Parasran Garu, as Narasimha Reddy Garu just pointed out, we were only instrumentalities, and we were privileged to be chosen instrumentalities in that sense. So here is a team that which has come out. When I entered the team in 2017, we had veterans already working on the brief. Bhaktivardhan Singh, a young law intern who was assisting the team which argued the matter in Allahabad High Court. He graduated and he became an advocate on record. And then P.V. Yogeshwaran. I mean, this I think I can always share in public. Yogeshwaran incidentally was a very active student activist, and he happened to be there on 6th December 1992 where action happened, and we keep teasing him, were you part of the criminal case or not? I think fortunately he was not there in the criminal case on either side, neither as a party nor as a counsel. Probably Ram kept him aside to be his lawyer. I can vouch for and say that if anyone knew these 25,000, 30,000 documents on either side, it was these two people, Bhakti and Yogi. And look at the names chosen. I'm sure there are no coincidences. And then we had Vaidyanathan sir, who was leading and taking care of the voluminous evidence which had to be dealt with. He is such an amazing personality. I mean, everyone has heard about Parasran Garu. Let me just throw some light on Sri Vaidyanathan. He is the one who would remove his shoes while arguing. I've seen so many WhatsApp forwards where they attributed that Parasranji was removing his shoes while arguing. But the fact remains, it was Vaidyanathanji who would remove the shoes and argue. And there was a reason. He apparently had visited with his wife Ayodhya prior to the judgment in the course of preparation a few years earlier. And his wife, when she saw the plight of our Ram in a tent in tatters, she had an emotional meltdown. And she said, I can't come back until you get a temple for him. And that was a driving force. Like, the wife played a role, sir. Absolutely. And Vaidyanathan sir is an amazing counsel, very underrated. People would not know about him. But when he touches a subject, he becomes a master of that. That's his ability, the genius that he is. So he picked up archaeology as a student and mastered it and presented the archaeological facts and defended the findings in Supreme Court. Then we had Sri Ranjit Kumar, another senior counsel of great eminence, later became the Solicitor General of India. He was prepared with all the facts and records. He presented the facts as it transpired in 1949. What transpired on 22nd, 23rd December 1949 when the idol was moved into the central dome, and then the litigation started. This litigation commenced prior to the Constitution coming into force. 16th January 1950, we all know Constitution comes into force on 26th January 1950. But this case started 10 days earlier, and the criminal case had started in December 1949. So this journey of this case has seen generations of lawyers working relentlessly to gather evidence, and there was always a divine hand of God which was guiding them. Last but not the least, my own guru, Sri T.S. Narasimhaji, as a senior counsel then, he was previously an additional Solicitor General of India. He was part of the people
or the lawyers who settled the appeals in 2010. So he remitted his office as the Additional Solicitor General of India and got into preparing for this case to present the case of Ram before the Supreme Court. He played a very critical role in bringing his spiritual insights into the importance and significance of visiting Ayodhya and why it is important for Hindus to visit Ayodhya. Because ultimately in a court of law, every fact has to be asserted and proved as a matter of evidence. So that part of the spiritual significance of Ayodhya for a Hindu is what he brings on record with his extensive knowledge of Sanskrit and the scriptures. He is the son of a great Ram, but Justice P. Kodandaramaiah garu. So it comes naturally for him. I think I'll be failing my duty if I don't really thank the Federation, thanks to President Ravi garu and all the team here for making this event such a wonderful evening for all of us to share the journey of the book as well as our own emotional attachment to Ram as a civilizational icon. I would like to thank Sri Madhukar David Garu and his team from Rupa for making the books available for all of you who would like to purchase it. The book is available in Himalaya stores in Hyderabad and would be available across the country in all stores. And it's already available on platforms like Amazon, Flipkart, etc. I would really like to thank the students of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar College for being there. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your efforts. I would also like to thank the faculty. I'm so thankful, ma'am, for being there. All of you made this evening so wonderful and colorful. I would fail in my duty not to acknowledge my own family, my mother, my wife, my bhabi, and my own Anna. He's been like Rama for me, guiding there and making this evening possible. After my father passed away, I always looked up to him and he was always there to guide, hold my hand and be there at all stages of my care. Thank you, Anna. I would also now like to say one thing. What does this book achieve? I think my takeaway from this book is we've established a role model for this country. We've established a role model in Kali Yuga of a person who's lived amongst us, who's with us. In fact, he was present on 17th October when this book was released in his august presence in Chennai. Sri Paraswaran Garu has entered his 99th year. I'm a witness to him working, sharing his values and practicing them. There is no hypocrisy there. He wouldn't say one thing in front of public and the other thing in private. That's the amazing quality. I think that's the spiritual pursuit that he actually brings to anyone who's aligned with spirituality to experience the alignment with truth, to actually reduce the gap between your external world and the internal world. The internal world is aligned with truth. And that is what he actually brings on record. I think, ladies and gentlemen, I actually bring here a personality of Sri Paraswaran. He refuses to write a biography. We actually broach the subject. With your wisdom and knowledge, you should write a biography. He said, see, as an advocate, there is a confidentiality that we have to maintain and the privilege of the communications that I had with clients. So there was no question of breaching that privilege. He would never address media on the cases that he argued. So he's a man who practiced professional ethics. He's a man who practices ethics even in the manner he charges fees. In fact, I was instrumental in bringing him to Hyderabad for a very contested mining client. And I'll tell you the impact that man has. When we boarded the bus, this is 2011 or 12, the old terminal in Delhi airport, the business class had a separate bus. So when we boarded the bus along with him, thanks to him, I got a business class seat. So there were a lot of politicians, MPs who were returning to Andhra. They looked at Sri Paraswaran and everyone recognized me and they didn't have the courage to reach out to ask him which case is he coming for. So they reached out and asked me, which case is he coming for? I just mentioned the name of the case as the headlines could hit. So they were very happy and they had a glow on their face. They thought the government had briefed him. Then I said, no, I'm briefing him for the private side, and I could see the fuses go on their face. That's the impact this man had when he was actually trying to board an aircraft. And just imagine the impact he would have in a court of law. That's the personality we are talking about. I think here is a person who actually brings into life something which we only read about in our itihasas. If Rama was a vigraha of dharma, and my personal journey with Parasaran sir was observing him. I'm a very critical, questioning kind of a person. I don't accept things when they're stated to me because I probe and verify. Either the person can answer me or I search and read to find my answers. And that's the seeker in me. So I actually observed him very closely for a very long time before I could confidently conclude. If bhakti had a human form, I think we can see it in the form of Sri Parasaran. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I now request the gathering to please stand up for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जनगण मंगल नायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे जय हिंद।